Okay, so the question is, does it matter if you use InnoDB or MyISAM? InnoDB is the commercial implementation of the database of MySQL. MyISAM is the original, very basic, more database engine designed more for academic than commercial. Does it matter what you're going to use? It depends upon what functionality you want. If you want commercial functionality like store triggers and certain optimizations and a lot of commercial capability that Oracle or SQL Server have, then you need to use InnoDB. If you don't care about any of that stuff and all you care about is speed, then you should use MyISAM. So for most commercial applications, you're going to use InnoDB for the most part. And that's generally a good practice to get into. Okay, let's see. First question. I would like to discuss more about the like command, specifically what are the typical search patterns you use. A like pattern that you might see on a typical application for doing a search would be very common against someone's name. So something like select star from customer where L name is like, let's just say T%. So all last names starting with a T. So it's be fairly typical, let's say, if you're trying to look someone up in an address book, or maybe you're writing a customer service application to look stuff up, to do some sort of wildcard. So you might tell someone you only need to enter the first couple of letters of the last name and hit enter, and then you would finish it off with the percent sign. So it'll give you everyone whose name begins with that. You could certainly do almost anything. If you're looking for the existence of a word anywhere inside of a pattern, then you could use it. For example, let's say uh, so this is going to look for the occurrence of the word bank anywhere in the street. So that's a pattern if you're looking for something with the occurrence of it anywhere. Um, that's a possibility as well. Let's see, what else? To give you an example. Is there any specific questions you had on that? About the like command? It's flexible. The percent signs, usually if you want to know if something starts with something, you start with those first couple of letters and you put a percent sign at the end. Otherwise, in the middle, you might look for someone um, where there's only one letter difference between them, for example. Um, trying to. There's not a good example here. Maybe in the database with the. Well, let's look at the country. Huh? Country's gonna have a lot of stuff in it. So let's just say George, right? We're head of state. So let's just say select. So this gives you every country where the head of state, because we can't even see them, is like that. Let's just go and narrow this down a little bit. Let's say head of state and local name. Okay, it's all those places. How about if you wanted to look for, I don't know, Elizabeth. Funny. Liz, how about Richard? Nothing to do with Richard either? Well, that's strange. I'm not seeing a lot of that. Okay. Hmm. Okay, this doesn't make a lot of sense. Do I have all the countries in here? I do. Just picking unlucky names, I guess. Oh, here's an example where we might use it. So let's say where the head of state starts with Elizabeth, but you know there's a couple of different spellings for Elizabeth. One with an S, one with a Z. So if we put in a underscore where that S or Z would be, it'll show us both variations on it. Now, of course, the Z one is not there. Starts with okay, so I mean there's some examples there, and I don't know how to give you more examples with the like command, but it's got quite a bit of flexibility. Where would the interval be useful in the real world example? The less than or equal to interval usage. Let's see. You know, I really don't use interval very often, so it probably is not very useful. So it 4 is the interval value. I think some sort of different types of statistical summary to statistical type reporting, it might be useful there. But I honestly don't use that. I think in operational type databases where you're ordering something online or something like that, it's probably not very useful. Is the insert faster if you don't specify the column names? No, I don't think so at all. If anything, it's probably longer. Because if you specify the column names, then the database doesn't have to go look them up. If you don't specify them, it does. It's probably unnoticeably slightly faster if you do specify the column names. I would have thought that insert into command would take multiple sets of values in the ANSI standard. It does not. That's MySQL. The ANSI standard is one set of values, not multiple. At least as far as I know. I haven't looked at the ANSI standard in a while, but I've never seen Oracle or Microsoft SQL Server do it the way MySQL does, so I kind of doubt it. Would what would be some of the potential cases for binary strings? I kind of discussed that already. Passwords would be a good time where you'd use it for binary data. Um, Data that doesn't fit into strings. Well, strings are typically not binary. Binary files, for example, uploading pictures, even videos, is stored as binary data. So those are a couple of places where you use binary data. And we talked about this question already. I went through it. And apparently the space cannot be there, so I'll have to fix that slide. Is there any questions on